So, hello. I'd like to welcome you all here tonight. I'm Isabel Machuca Caley, and I am an environmental education major.
I'm Elena Dominguez. I'm a student at Fairhaven, and I'm studying health.
I'm Caley DeVries, and I'm studying anthropology.
I'm Alyson Simone, and I'm studying chemistry at Western and an interdisciplinary concentration at Fairhaven, and I'm also the sustainability coordinator for dining services this year. So on behalf of that position and of this class, the four of us decided to take on the challenge of tracking dining services purchases on a tool called the Real Food Calculator. So we'll go into describing the Real Food Calculator, but I first wanted to say what I hope that this audience takes from this presentation are four things. First, what exactly real food is. Second, how we went about tracking our purchases. Where we fell on the category of the calculator and in the categories of real food, and how those foods, how those results compare to those of other schools. Lastly, we came up with some solutions or some kind of ideas for how dining services could increase the amount of real food purchases in the future. So first, let's take a look at what real food is. Real food nourishes all parts of the wheel, the consumers, the producers, the earth, and the communities. Real food is food that is ethically produced with fair treatment of workers and equitable relationships with farmers locally and abroad. Animals are treated humanely. The food was produced under ecologically sound conditions. We use the criteria of USDA organic, but there's many criteria that ensure food sustainability. So we looked at all of these different aspects and from that decided whether the food was considered real or not.
We also, this is something that we hope to inspire social change. And universities across the nation are participating in what is called the Real Food Challenge. There are over 300 universities across the nation that are participating in this and have embarked upon the journey to get 20% real food by 2020. So to understand how the calculator works, we drew up a little diagram to explain how we categorized food on the invoices. So the four categories are local, fair, humane, and ecologically sound. In order to put food into these categories in a way that is unbiased, we use third-party certifications. So in the case of ecologically sound, rather than us deciding if it's ecologically sound or not, we rely on USDA organic to give us that standard and to show us that a food product is meeting the standards, not using synthetic pesticides and fertilizers. For humane, the criteria that it needs to pass is to be certified by Food Alliance, and there's other ways to be certified humane, but this is the one that we would use if we had any to go under that category. To be certified as fair, fair trade looks at food producers that are outside of our country, and they see if people are being paid a living wage, and then Food Alliance looks at that within our country to see if people who are growing our food in our country are being paid a living wage. And then last but not least, local. That's something that needs to be physically evident if something is being grown or if dairy is being produced locally, within 150 miles from us. And another criteria about that is we have to have an established relationship with the farm. So to explain that we have three different categories. We have real food A, real food B, and conventional. Real food A must meet two of these categories that I just explained. So for example, something that is local and certified by organic, it would be counted as real food A. Real food B, on the other hand, which is something that we are glad that we have, but we wish that it would, have more standards than that. Real food B meets only one of these categories. So, for example, it could be something that is organic but is grown maybe in California. And then last is conventional, and conventional doesn't meet any of these standards.
So University of California, Irvine piloted the Real Food Calculator in 2008, and in their research, they found that 9.58% of it was considered Real Food B, meaning that it met only 2 of those criteria. They also found that none of it was Real Food A.
One of the criteria.
Oh, excuse me, yes, one of the criteria. Flip-flop this. So they found that none of their food was Real Food A. When they presented this information to the administration, the school decided that they were going to take the challenge and start buying 20% real food by 2020. Since then, they've implemented